Yep, so we have Spider-Man Brand New Day teaser, right? They show the suit, and, he's filming right now, and I've been seeing, like, all the shit on TikTok, him meeting the fans and all that jazz. And we have our dude, Eric, here to tell us about it. Talk to us, Pastor Eric. Please.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and Spider-Man Brand New Day just revealed its first look at Peter's suit in the film coming next summer, the next MCU film after Fantastic Four First Steps. Plus, it seems like Mr. Negative might be the villain of this story based on some clues we saw. In this video, I'm going to break down everything we just learned, how Frank Castle the Punisher is going to fit into the story, how Bruce Banner the Hulk could tie in, if that is indeed happening, and just a full status check-in on the MCU on this road to Avengers Doomsday. And it was just confirmed by The Hollywood Reporter that Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner, the Hulk, will join the cast of Spider-Man Brand New Day. So yeah, I'm gonna dig into that in this video too. And an announcement, New Rockstars has a new podcast series called Who Invited This Nerd? Where in the first episode, I talk about my crazy experience at San Diego Comic-Con. It's part of our underground audio subscription service where we also post episodes of our Danger Room podcast. But the first episode of Who Invited This Nerd is free to listen to as a preview on our sneak peek audio feed. Check it out via the link in the description, and please consider supporting us in our underground. Okay, earlier today, the social channels of Marvel and Sony shared this 9-second clip that showed close-ups of Peter Parker's new suit. Hell yeah, we got some raised webbing here, boys! And it's not the only thing that's raised, and by that I mean my eyebrows. The music you heard there includes the first 4 notes in piano of the MCU Spider-Man theme that was composed by Michael Giacchino for 2017 Spider-Man Homecoming. Dun, 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 dun. It's not the most iconic or memorable of the themes Giacchino has composed, but he certainly understood the assignment at the time, and it is like such a good melody for this version of the character as played by Tom Holland. For what it's worth, Michael Giacchino also shared this 9-second clip on his social media. It's hard to tell much from the close-ups of the suit, but we can tell that the texture is the same material that Peter Parker stitched his suit out of in the final scene of 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home. It has that same pseudo sparkly texture, and if you look closely, you can make out a few pixels of blue, which is the same shade of blue as the blue parts of Peter's suit when he was whipping through the snow. And yes, you are seeing a lot about raised webbing on the suit. Many of us associate this with Tobey Maguire's era of the Spider-Man suit, when Sam Raimi in the 2002 film's costumer James Ackison constructed the suit with the web pattern as a raised layer on top of the fabric, which gave Tobey's Peter more of an arachnid texture that just really popped on film. I don't know if this version of the suit has as pronounced of a raised webbing, or if we're just seeing it in such extreme close-up that it looks that raised, but it does seem to be more raised than the smooth suits that Tom Holland's Peter was always wearing, and definitely more raised than the exact suit he was wearing in those final shots of No Way Home. Also, it's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like the spider logo that we see in the final frames of this 9 seconds looks like it might just be a bit bigger. And right as we were recording this, a Hollywood Reporter, the Heat Vision newsletter written by our friends Aaron Couch and Boris Kitt, confirmed per their sources that Mark Ruffalo will be joining this cast as well. According to their article, Spider-Man Brand New Day has found a smashing star to join Tom Holland in the Sony/Marvel movie sequel. Mark Ruffalo is returning to reprise the role of Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, in the feature, which comes 14 years after the actor joined the MCU in the Avengers. The move had been rumored for a while, but only firmed up as the script came together and as production gears up for beginning of production this month in England. At the same time, Michael Mando, known for his work on Better Call Saul, is returning to reprise the role of the Scorpion, the villain character whom he first played in Spider-Man Homecoming, the 2017 feature that kicked off the Holland-centric Spider-Man movies. Holland Spider-Man films have always paired him with more seasoned actors such as Robert Downey Jr. in Spider-Man Homecoming, Samuel L. Jackson, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Benedict Cumberbatch, Spider-Man No Way Home, playing key characters from Iron Man, Nick Fury, and Doctor Strange respectively. The movies invoke the tone of classic Marvel team-up, the series from the 1970s and 1980s, which featured Spider-Man partnering with another hero for an escapade. Brand New Day, however, is stacking the deck. John Bernthal is also on the call sheet to reprise the role of the vigilante known as the Punisher. The plot details are being kept under the vest, but you can bet that in the mighty Marvel manner, Spider-Man, the Punisher, and Hulk will all fight one another before figuring out who the real bad guys are. Sony and Marvel had no comment. Now, this Hulk news was initially rumored by a scooper and friend of the channel, John Roca, on the Hot Hot Mike podcast, but Boris Kitt and Aaron Couch have their own sources at the studio, and they only run with stuff like this when they have it confirmed. So this is happening. But according to the rumors that preceded this report, it sounded like we might be returning back to the savage rage monster Hulk as opposed to the smart Hulk form that we saw in She-Hulk and Avengers Endgame. So there you have it. That's a pretty stacked cast for this movie. But the fact that Frank Castle is going to be part of the story makes me a bit nervous for Michael Mando as Mac-Argan Scorpion, because that's a guy who threatened to sever the head of a kid and throw it in a dryer. How do you think Frank Castle is going to feel about that? A guy who every time he looks into a corner hears his son's ghost screaming, "Get him, Daddy!" Now, another detail that was spotted on the set of Spider-Man Brand New Day in Glasgow includes these massive tanked vehicles. Scooper Daniel Rickman claims that the shoots on this weekend of August 2nd involve Spider-Man and the Punisher fighting over a DODC transport convoy, and Daniel said that the Punisher drives this tank. However, on Friday, some onlookers noticed this red symbol on the tank, which many are interpreting as the symbol of the Inner Demons. The Inner Demons are the gang controlled by Mr. Negative in the Amazing Spider-Man run in 2008 that comes from the Brand New Day era that comes right after One More Day. Players of the Spider-Man game, where Mr. Negative is featured prominently, may also remember the Inner Demon gang that you have to fight through. In the comics, this group was once controlled by Green Goblin, but then were taken over by Mr. Negative, Martin Lee. They can regenerate their limbs, and they deal Mr. Negative's synthetic drug known as Shade. The man who became Mr. Negative was originally part of the Chinese Snakeheads gang involved in human trafficking to New York City. This man stole the identity of a deceased Fujian slave named Martin Lee, and he was captured by the Mafia crime family member Silvermane and delivered to the criminal chemist Simon Marshall, who was at the time developing a new synthetic drug called D-Light. D-Light was tested on Martin Lee along with two others, and it gave all three of them powers to manipulate the Dark Force and the Light Force. And those other two were actually Tyrone Johnson and Tandy Bowen, who became Cloak and Dagger. For Martin Lee, it created
No Way Home. When No Way Home first came out, everybody loved it because Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield was in it, bruh. But after a while, people was like, man, people only liked it because Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Like, bruh, okay, it was, can we all just say it was a good movie, though? Like, even though it gave us that nostalgia feeling, we don't have to discredit a movie and only like it just because that person's in it, bro. Look at the whole movie as it is, bro, and say, is it good or not? And if it's not good, then that's your opinion, nigga. But it was good to me, bro. And I feel like this one is gonna take the cake on it. And I really hope people is not gonna be like, man, I'm just gonna see it because the Punisher, and the Punisher gonna have like 15 minutes of screen time, right? And niggas gonna be mad about it. Like, bro, it's not a Punisher movie, bro. It's a Spider-Man movie.
Two identities. The kind-hearted
it wasn't a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. It was a Tom Holland movie. Alright? Like, bruh.
Lee and the villainous Mr. Negative persona. The former became a known philanthropist in New York, backing the Soup Kitchen Feast, which we saw as a homeless outreach center in Spider-Man No Way Home. But Mr. Negative emerged as the new crime lord in the Brand New Day era to fill a void left by Kingpin. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. If you ever find yourself looking around and thinking, I thought I'd be further along by now, and when reality doesn't match that picture, it's easy to feel like you've fallen behind. The truth is, it's completely truly supernatural villain Tom Holland's in the description. Scan the QR code or go to betterhelp.com/newrockstars and get 10% off your first month of therapy. If Mr. Negative is the villain of Brand New Day, this would be the first truly supernatural villain Tom Holland's Peter Parker has faced in one of his movies, after Vulture and Mysterio were tech-based and the Multiverse Men of No Way Home were lab experiments from other universes, who of course were brought to the MCU through magical means. In the MCU, with Wilson Fisk now serving as mayor of New York, leading his anti-vigilante task force, aside from whatever Vanessa Fisk is doing with the 5 families in the city, there is certainly a power void in which any new super criminal could emerge to fill. Kevin Feige, though, has been a bit unclear on how much the Marvel television side of New York will connect to the Marvel Studios film side. Obviously, John Bernthal's Frank Castle is joining Brand New Day after his appearance in Daredevil Born Again Season 1 and Season 2 coming at some point in 2026, and whenever his special presentation is releasing on Disney+. But when Kevin Feige was asked at a press roundtable on July 18th if the event events of Thunderbolts with the Void shadow spreading across the city would get referenced in Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Feige answered curtly, no. And in another update from the set, back in July, we learned the film's VFX team was creating a digital model of the Scottish Legal Life Assurance Society building in Glasgow so they could blow it up virtually for the film. And based on the exterior of this building, I'd say it kind of looks like Peter's new apartment building that we saw him in at the end of No Way Home. But we do see this same building from its set in Glasgow with American flags hanging in front of it. Spider-Man Brand New Day will release on July 31st, 2026, and it's being directed by Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Cretton. At that press roundtable on July 18th, when Kevin Feige was asked about Spider-Man Brand New Day, here's what he said. I think there's a promise at the end of No Way Home that, for as sad as it is, that Peter is forgotten by everyone in his life. We are seeing for the first time in the Tom Holland Spider-Man stories him being a proper Spider-Man, him being by himself dedicated to saving the city and dealing with, for lack of a better term, street-level crime as opposed to world-ending events that he faced when working with the other characters. Feige went on to talk about John Bernthal's Punisher joining the cast, saying, so when you do that, you say, okay, who are the other street-level characters that we've never seen him interact with? And of course, I love that the Punisher started in a Spider-Man comic, and that great cover. I don't want to say too much, but I will say too much. Destin is doing an amazing job right now on that movie. It starts shooting very soon, and he's got 8 or 9 comic covers up on his wall in his art department that he is bringing to life in this movie. It's super cool. So to be clear, Spider-Man Brand New Day is a joint production between Marvel Studios and Sony. It's mostly a Sony production though. Like everyone's contracts are with Sony. Sony oversees the production, the crew, etc. But due to Sony's deal with Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige and his team consult on the script, the casting, and which characters and elements from the MCU will be part of the story. But we also know the cast of Brand New Day will include Zendaya returning as MJ and Jacob Batalon returning as Ned Leeds, and that Sadie Sink will be joining the cast in an unknown role. Sadie Sink could be one of the new female characters introduced during the Brand New Day comic period, Carly Cooper or Lily Hollister. Carly is one of Spider-Man's first potential romantic interests in the One More Day story arc, and eventually is a girlfriend for a time. She's a CSI investigator and the daughter of a cop and a roller derby participant known as Crusher Carly. Lily Hollister is another friend of the friend group during this period, introduced as Harry Osborn's girlfriend, daughter of DA Bill Hollister, and later takes on the supervillain identity of Menace. Liza Colon Zayas from The Bear will also play an unknown role in this movie, and since Brand New Day only happens in the comics because One More Day happened, and One More Day was such a big Mephisto storyline, I apologize, but I have to bring this up. Mephisto now exists in the MCU, played by Sacha Baron Cohen, and he did imply in the Ironheart finale that he has had other clients that he has attended to. I don't think Mephisto will be the villain of Spider-Man Brand New Day, but who knows? He exists in this world now. While Spider-Man Brand New Day is kicking off its production in Glasgow, down south on Pinewood Studios closer to London, Avengers Doomsday production is still underway. We've learned from Mystique actor Rebecca Romaine that the script is still being finished. Kazar Farhani was announced as the Doomsday production designer, which seems to confirm that much of this film will be set in the 828 Universe Baxter building and in the TVA, 2 sets that he designed and built for the MCU. Given the post-credit scene of Fantastic Four First Steps, it seems like Doomsday is going to open with the Fantastic Four arriving to the 616 universe, as we saw in that Thunderbolts post-credit scene, as they are looking for their son Franklin, who is kidnapped by Doctor Doom. But since Thunderbolts mentioned a space anomaly separate from the Four's arrival, I'm thinking part of the crazy visuals of Doomsday will be to show incursion cracks in the sky, similar to what we saw in Spider-Man No Way Home's final battle. But now those cracks will stay open so that when characters in Doomsday look upward from Manhattan in the 616 universe, they will see, looking back down at them, the skyline of the 828 universe on one horizon, and on another horizon, an aerial view of the Westchester campus from the 10005 universe, so that going back and forth among these bridged universes won't take that long, and it'll all feel like one big shared battlefield as these universes are just getting smushed and smushed together to destroy them all. So comment down below on your thoughts on this new stuff we've learned from Spider-Man Brand New Day.
The more he explained it, the more excited I am, bro. Oh my gosh. I can't wait for fucking Doomsday, bro. Like, bro, I'm low key. I feel like Marvel is at the prime again, bro. I feel like home. I feel home. I can't wait. I just can't wait.